Hello everyone, today in this video we will fight against the Atmos character of our world around us, and this time we will discuss some general issues. Very often in the times of crisis and total collapse, one would say, like we have nowadays, many people ask themselves and also ask other people they trust or they respect, what to do, where to go, how to behave, what to come back to, or maybe to go forward, maybe um, just cut ourselves off our past and so on and start something new. The last pseudo solution I mentioned, I mean cutting ourselves off our past, is the wars, so we shouldn't do it. Communists were trying to do it many times, and how it ended up each time, we see and we know that this is not the way. It doesn't work. It leads only to more and more troubles, more and more tragedies. One of the possible solutions for our crisis, I mean in terms of individual needs, is coming back to the texts of culture that are the basics for us, for our history, for our material and spiritual culture. And for people like me, the main text I always come back to, actually there are three main texts: Iliad, Odyssey, and Aeneid. I like it in the translations, of course, classical 19th century translations in my native language, that it's Polish. And recently I discovered a translation of Iliad and Odyssey, especially done by one of my favorite historians of the conquest of Alexander the Great and Hellenistic period, Mr. Peter Green, that were published, if I remember correctly, in 2018 AD, the translation of Iliad and Odyssey, and they are beautifully published in hardcovers, all together in the nice etui box. I have such editions since recently, and from time to time I enjoy some fragments of these beautiful works, really brilliantly translated by Mr. Peter Green, who didn't lose anything from his literary and scientific abilities despite his advanced age when he was translating these fabulous works of literature like Iliad and Odyssey. He was already above 90 years old. But translation is great. There is also some introduction, very interesting, and I really enjoy it. And when I feel really bad and the reality around me is overwhelming, I always come back to these texts. Of course, there are some other texts I come back to, of course, but these are the basics. But of course, for religious people, depends what you follow. One of the basics, texts of culture. So texts of culture are the texts that largely influence the direction in which certain cultures develop. For religious people, these texts, even more important than Iliad and Odyssey, to me, would be the holy books of their own religion. For Christians, Bible; for Muslims, Quran, and so on and so on. Of course, some people can say that long ago Iliad and Odyssey could be considered also as some sort of holy text for ancient Greeks, because on the basis of these Homeric texts, in my opinion, Homer existed. On the basis of these Homeric texts, the huge part of the Greek religion and theology were later formed. Yes, it's true, Iliad and Odyssey largely influenced later beliefs of many ancient Greeks, it's true, but didn't create them from zero. And one should also say that Iliad and Odyssey had also another influence on Greeks. They were something like a central text for, that's why I call it text of culture, central text for their culture and always a reference. But they were not so profoundly equipped with religious meaning as, for instance, Bible or Quran. With this, I agree that they were not so profoundly equipped with religious meaning like these two books I mentioned. And the most important is that I truly also enjoy the stories of the main characters of these two brilliant epics, and I always find an answers what to do, how to behave in difficult situations. And sometimes also you can find joy and consolation, and as well as some forms of entertainment. So I hope I just gave you good advice what to do in terms of fighting with individual crises when the miserable reality around overwhelms us. We should go back to our roots, to our texts of our cultures. All the best, have a nice day, bye.